the best fighting game ever created. No questions asked. It's full of Nintendo characters from the games we grew up with. Link, Pikachu, Fox, Kirby, and the ever-loving savior of video games, Mario. So isn't it great that we get to see them get killed over and over again? It sure is. Anyway, most fighting games end up having a flat surface stage with different backgrounds in which you can fight on, but in Brawl the objective is to knock people off the screen. So the flat surface idea can be mixed and adjusted in many different ways, without ruining the fight. This is ultimately a good idea, with absolutely no flaws. Unless the stage is totally broken. And with a game as good as Brawl, you would expect the greatest of creativity and design. If that's what you're thinking right now, you evidently haven't played these 10 stages. So, put on your Wii strap and get ready for a whole lot of crap. It's the top 10 worst stages in Brawl. This one was a toss-up. I had to choose from a stupid-looking Hanebow stage against a place with cheap deaths. Well, Hanebow got lucky since it isn't higher on the list just because it contains no unfair situations. But trust me, it still sucks. Why? It's stupid-looking, that's why. Anyway, this is a remake of the Captain Falcon stage in Melee. But if you asked me, I actually liked that one, even if it did look like crap. Why? Because they don't put you in a position where you can't see where the cars are coming from, or platforms in a place where you can get hurt, and the cars are much slower and weaker. But then again, the cars in Brawl are a bit more realistic, which sucks. There are also a few spots where you can't even tell where you got hurt, like that stupid wall on the left, or when you get hit by something that isn't even part of the track. Well, it sure does look cool, but prepare to get confused easily. It's playable, just not liked. This is also a stage I would play, but once again, it's just not liked a whole lot. Some of its main stage features are an ice ramp that can be destroyed, a predictable falling platform, and an icicle that falls after a while. Icy floors that are slippery to all characters, except ice climbers, which is lame, and edges that can't be grabbed. Sorry, Olimar and Ike. And that's just the parts that you have to live with the whole time. Summon also has a low gravity portion, which is actually kind of epic in my opinion. Water that drops at random, once again bad for Olimar, and an instant KO fish. Then it repeats. Doesn't that sound fun? Yeah. Well, the one from Melee was a bit worse, but seriously, we need a good ice climber stage for once. Or just get rid of the characters altogether, it's okay with me. Well, even though I like the idea of a moving stage, they usually end up sucking. All the time. Each with their own problems, but honestly, the Mushroom Kingdom has no flaws. Equal item spreading, good pace, obstacles that you have to work with to create awesome combos. It's the perfect moving stage. Oh, yeah, it's just ruined by the underground portion. Yeah, all the good things I just said about level 1/1 have just been murdered. Items are either in ridiculous amounts or absolutely none. Bricks keep you from moving, and even fighting for that matter, and it's way too crowded. And yeah, the top part is really just a cheap smash kill zone. So, this stage altogether is a bit weird. It's like some guy made a totally perfect stage of the first level of Super Mario Bros. And put it in Brawl. And then some moron suggested to add level 1/2 as a bonus, and they did it without thinking. Sorry, Mario. You deserve better than that. This stage is okay, and nothing more. Until lava is added into the picture. How is it a problem in this stage? Well, let's name all the places where you can get hit, shall we? Lava overflow from the bottom. Okay. The wave that covers most of the stage from the left. Okay. And the right. Yeah. Sprays of lava from the background. And a tidal wave that covers the whole screen except for a small capsule that's hard to stand since you're probably going to be knocked out by CPUs or other players. So yeah. Oh, right. And the design of the stage is even worse, since it's almost impossible to fight on because of all the steps. Yeah. Apparently Nintendo thought it was as bad as I did, so they made another Metroid stage to cover up the giant stain that is Norfair. Huh. That's actually a good idea, Nintendo. Thanks for that. In other people's top 10 lists, this usually isn't included, or it's somewhere near the bottom. But trust me, I've actually taken the time to play it, and put it in its rightful spot. Small, hazardous, and too random. The first screen is fine until you get to the unavoidable other stages, like the car shop stage, where when you hit a person, they scream and hit you in return. How nice. Or the kitchen stage, where crap is flying from the air and the chef tossing it back up. Well, thankfully, you can hurt the chef and end the stage quicker. It's actually quite amusing to see him spin off the stage like that, in pain, just like Game & Watch after seeing this terrible piece of poo. And then finally, the cage stage, which is actually so bad I'm not even going to talk about it. Yeah, it's that horrible. You remember Norfair? It's a bad stage with hazard shooting from every angle, right? You remember. Okay, now imagine a good stage ruined by even worse hazards, and every possible trick that can ruin your gameplay. Yep, that's Spear Pillar. At random, you get one of 3 terrible Pokemon in the center of the stage. A blue lion thingy, a pink bear thingy, and a moon duck thingy. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't play Pokemon Diamond and Pearl that often. Each with specific attacks to ruin your fight. Lasers from the sky, lasers from the side, breaking platforms, a charge tackling move, a boomerang, slowdown, low gravity, screen reverse, screen flip, faster speed, and any other cheap death trap that I missed. The only positive thing that I can say about this stage is the music. It's good, and you can't deny it. Trying to be like Hyrule Temple from Melee, New Pork City just naturally sucked. The stage was just way too big, the platforms were placed almost completely at random, and KOing someone is like trying to listen to Miley Cyrus for 30 minutes straight. It's just painful. Also, a stupid pink creature thing comes out at random, instantly KOing anyone who touches it. But you usually won't touch it because it's so slow, and the stage is too freaking big to get knocked into it. This is just one of those stages you don't get killed on easily. But it's a stage you simply cannot fight on, too. Ever. It's not fun, or fair to anyone who plays this stage. Just stick with good old Hyrule Temple. I'm going to tell you 5 things that suck about Rumble Falls, and nothing else. 1. It's like the Ice Climber stage from Melee, and if you remember like I do, it was as fun as shoving a fishhook up your nose. 2. It has these buttons that make the stage more difficult for the other players who run into the traps. Yeah, the only flaw about these buttons are they're worthless. Number 3. 3 words. Random speed up. Number 4. Some platforms look like you can go through them, but you can't. And finally, number 5. An instant kill needle. You take one look at it, and BAM! It just got owned by Nintendo. It's the Mario Bros. Stage, and guess what it's gonna look like? So actually, if they just kept this a neutral stage, it would have been fine. But no, they had to add the worst possible thing you can to a stage. Enemies. And how can you make these enemies worse than they already are? Make them as deadly as the cars on Port Aero Drive. Yeah, that deadly. And how can you make that even worse? You can pick them up and knock out anyone you throw it at. It's just not cool. But the only reason why anyone would ever play this stage is because with bumpers, it's fun to see your friends die in ridiculous ways. Yes, I know, I'm evil. Man, I don't even want to talk about this stage, but for the sake of YouTube, I will. 75 meters is the biggest example how not to make a stage. A classic video game level that would never work in a fighting game and not fix or move anything. Underground level. You have the ever-annoying firebug things, small platforms that are impossible to fight on and shouldn't be grabbable, and the ladders that will wreck any up move that you're trying to pull off, and jacks that Grandpa Donkey Kong throws at you, which you can sometimes get knocked into. And probably the worst part about this stage is definitely the fact that you can't go under the structure you're on once you land on the top. This may not seem like so much of a problem at first, until you realize you have to get off the top platform, which by the way covers almost the whole screen before the jack kills you. It's just awful. There is no part of the stage that is good. In no situation, battle, or solo match is this stage not terrible. Nintendo should be ashamed. Even though I still love Brawl. Okay, those are my top 10 worst stages in Brawl. If you feel as though there are even worse stages in Brawl, you can complain about it too. But this is my list, and if you have a problem with it, make your own list. I know that other people have had their own list, and how I'm not being the most original guy by making my own. But when I saw stages like Distant Planet and Skyworld were being added, I had to make my own list. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I hope I've changed your mind on some of these stages. Goodbye.